This is Fire Emblem Fates Special Edition on the 3DS, and if you don't know, this is actually a sealed one. I've talked about this a lot on the channel. It's honestly one of my favorite items in my full game collection. But there's something recently I've been thinking about, and that is, I bought this before I started making videos. A lot of the videos a lot of people came from is like me recommending what 3DS games to buy now, and also, I guess in turn, a video a lot of people also came from is one of my more recent videos of we need to talk about 3DS prices. There's something I didn't talk about in between both of those, and I do want to talk about that today. So, I feel that we need to talk about video game investing. And before I go too far into this, let me introduce myself. If you're new to the channel, welcome. I'm Ty, and today we're going to be talking about just the thought of video game investing, primarily sealed things such as this. And before I get too far into it, I want to say thank you so much for getting me really close to 500 subs. I don't know if I'll do anything special. I don't have anything planned, but if there's something you want to see, also feel free to join the Discord, link in the description. Got an active community in there, and if you also want to see something, I take video requests. Like, if there's something, I just want to make content you guys want to see. With that out of the way, I want to also preface this that, I'm sure it was pretty easy to gather, but I put investing in quotes in the title because I'm not an investor. I'm not no business expert. I am a guy in this gaming chair with a pea brain just suggesting what I think will happen next in terms of the video game market. And I have been luckily right with a lot of it. Things like Soul Hackers, Project X Zone 1 and 2. There's probably a couple others. I don't need to toot my own horn, but I have been right about some things, and I want to talk about, this was something I thought about after my other video, and honestly kind of in the shower today. Investing in games is a very popular thing now. It is kind of like the Pokemon card thing that happened early on in the pandemic, where there is now a big influx of people. And that is great. More people are getting the hobby, and I can't say personally before like 2020 that I was going around collecting like specifically sealed games or games to invest in. I just happen to have games, like in my GameCube video someone pointed out Killer 7 is an expensive game. I had no clue about that. I didn't purposely go out of my way for that, but thank you to the person. Let me clarify, I'm not trying to be mean to them. I'm just saying, like, I happen to have expensive games. Like, the only time I think I got a game that I knew was expensive was Fire Emblem Path of Radiance and Radiant Dawn, but I wasn't also doing that to invest in them. I actually ended up getting them past their time of being worth less to make it, basically worth the time past to make actual profit off of those. I have been collecting a lot of 3DS stuff because there's a lot I missed out on, that because the 3DS is one of my favorite consoles. So what I'm saying is, I haven't been in this whole investing thing for a long time, but I'm aware of how long it's been going on and how big of an increase we're seeing. People know, people see like that copy of Mario, I think Super Mario Brothers, that was sealed and had like an 8.5 and sold for like who knows how many hundreds of thousands, maybe even $1 million or something dollars. And they're like, oh, I want to do that. And that makes sense. The thing is, Mario Bros is like 35 years old, 37 now, I don't know. And people are now going and buying a copy of Mario Odyssey or Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild on the Nintendo Switch. and they're buying like, I don't know, 6, 7 of them. I mean, this really goes for any first-party Nintendo game right now on the Switch. You know, you're going out. There are people that are doing this, and I don't think this is really my audience. You know, they're buying like a couple of them, keeping them sealed, or some people are buying one, keeping one sealed at full price. And you know, I bet it'll always hold its value. You know, I don't think Mario Odyssey, like after the Switch, and we have the Nintendo Switch U 3DS edition, whatever Nintendo has next, you know, I think Mario Odyssey will probably always be, unless it gets ported or something, I think it'll always hold its value, especially if it's sealed. But I think a lot of people are going about it that way, and that's just not the way to do it. You know, you want to wait. I guess if you were going to do that, you probably want to wait until they do one of their holiday sales. But there'll always be more printing of those games, and I see people doing it right now with the 3DS, which is why I want to get into a little more. You know, I've seen people getting like sealed games that are like Super Mario 3D Land or Mario Kart 7, the selects, and they're paying like a good price for a sealed version. And you know, if that's what you want to collect, that's fine. But in terms of investing, that's a poor idea in my opinion. These, like, you know, buying a sealed Pokemon game, and if you're patient enough, that's another thing. You want to have patience, you know, that's not a bad idea. Buying something like Yokai Watch 3 or Psychic Specters, especially if you see either of those sealed, not a bad idea, because we know those games are rare. However, you're playing a dangerous game when you buy games that sold like millions. You know, and I know Pokemon sells millions, but that's a whole different topic. Pokemon, essentially, in my eyes, is like a Supreme Gucci. It's a name brand that just holds its value. People want it, so people will pay for it. Mario is a household name, unlike what Pokemon is. Pokemon's also a household name, but it's also like a valued one. Mario is a valued name by Nintendo. However, it is a different type of value, monetarily speaking. A lot of people are like, oh, the Mario console, the Nintendo. There's a lot of people out there, probably none of them are watching this channel. This might be a little too niche. It's different, and that's why a lot of times, I mean, you know, some Mario games still go for like their full price. There's also a handful, a good amount, that also are just like some of the cheapest games on the system. Nothing against them, but a lot of times when a Mario game is expensive, there is a reason. Like Mario Sunshine on the GameCube, I think it's still like $80. You know, that's pretty expensive. That's kind of more the high area for a Mario game, like in terms of like all the series. That's just because it didn't do too great. GameCube in general didn't do too great, and it's only been ported on the Switch, and you can't get it anymore on the Switch, so it has a reason why it's still up there. I'm sure there's other ones that I can think of, but that's a good example. I guess my point being is I want to make this also because I've been getting comments. You know, people have been saying they bought this thing because they saw me mention it, and honestly, that blows my mind and means way more to me than I think you'll ever know. Is that someone listened to a random person who was just talking about his passion for getting games and playing games and collecting games. I mean, clearly I have a little bit of passion for Nintendo especially, but I like games in general. You know, it means a lot to me seeing someone say that they bought a game, because I was like, oh, this is probably one you want to get. I have been very good, I think, on avoiding games that have sold a ton or I don't just spew out. I know I made a lot of like, buy this game now, buy this game now, buy this game now, but I was trying to be really careful not to put anything where it's like, okay, if you bought this is a grave mistake. These are things that just based on a history that just have no reason to go down. You know, obviously everyone should be doing this knowing it's not true. It's not a certain fact that this will be worth $1 trillion. But you know, it's a buy at your own risk type thing. But what I'm saying is, I don't know, it means a lot. You know, it's gonna be a patience thing. I know a lot of people are getting into it, and if you want to stay into it, make sure you know you have to have that patience. It is going to be a years thing if you want to see that true value. If you're out there buying these games that are selling millions, you're gonna be waiting a lot longer than personally someone like me who has like Yokai Watch 3 and Fire Emblem Fate Special Edition. I mean, I can already get the turnaround on some of those games for at least double what I paid for. I'm pretty certain I could do it. I'm not going to. I don't really know what I'm going to do with them. I'm probably just going to keep them until I really need money. Hopefully that's never, because I kind of like having them. It's cool. You know, that's the other thing, like I kind of briefly touched on. If you're doing it because you just think it's cool, go for it. Go for it, you know? But I know a lot of people are doing it for a monetary sense, and you're going to have some patience. And if you don't think you have that patience, sell them now. Because if your games are worth more than you paid for now, just sell them now. If you don't have the patience, if you don't want to take that gamble, it's frankly, it's a bad business model, because you're kind of secondhand investing, you know? It sounds really weird, but a lot of people are buying these games sealed now too, off of people already selling while the market's high. So you're buying them when it's high, which is not inherently awful. Like, I know a lot of people say buy low, but you're buying at a really high peak of interest. This is in regards for 3DS. Actually, this is, you know, I got comments on the other video. This applies to like all retro games. Right now, retro games are just, I know 3DS isn't retro, but all games in general, mainly Nintendo and old school consoles, you are buying in a time where like a lot of people are at home wanting entertainment. They want to revisit this game, they want to revisit that game, this game. 3DS eShop and Wii U eShop are closing. It's just a time where everything is coming together really well for anybody who did buy like 2 or 3 copies of Mario 64 way back when, because at that time, you know, they were not making as many as Mario Odyssey or Ocarina of Time. They weren't making as many as Breath of the Wild now. So that is a better investment in theory. You know, population has grown since then, and you can say the same thing now, but so many more people are into it now than then. Even if you calculate the population, I can almost guarantee that. Plus, Breath of the Wild is on 2 consoles, and I don't know. And there's also, for like some other games, like N64 games, there's much more to having a complete one than having a game. In its case, I actually have my sealed Breath of the Wild. I know, ironic. If you're going to buy a sealed Breath of the Wild, buy it on Wii U. If you're going off of history, the Wii U version is kind of like the GameCube version of Twilight Princess, in the sense that they definitely made less of these, and it holds some iconicness, I guess, to the system. I don't know. This has just been a long ramble, and I'm sure I started a lot of thoughts and didn't finish them, but I just want to get it out there that be careful what you do, I guess. In terms of these investments, I feel like I'm watching a lot of people make some really poor moves. buying things you don't really want or need. There's no one I'm not like talking behind anyone's back. It's just from comments and just reading online and people's concerns. Just buy what you want, or if you want to play the game, know the game you're playing. Because if you're just getting into it, and frankly, like I said, I'm kind of just getting into it, but I've also, like, I've been surrounded by it pretty much my whole life, so I kind of didn't start at square one. So just be careful, be aware, and till next time, make sure you get cars on the GameCube.